iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome to the show. Tonight we got a great one here. It is race number 9 of the American Sim Racing Club Pro Late Models here at the Knoxville Speedway. We got our first group of cars here sitting on the front stretch, getting ready to roll here in qualifying. Group number 1 will be made up of Tanner Hutchins, Darrell Larson, and Dane Lloyd. So right now we got Hutchins here. Looks like Dane Lloyd rolling to the edge of the speedway. And of course, we got the 5 car of Darrell Larson also going to be out here getting ready to rock and roll. Just waiting for the green light from race control as we get ready to rock and roll here for group number 1 of qualifying. As we got our first cars rolling out on the speedway, the first one we'll be looking at is the 9. That being piloted by Dane Lloyd here. Lloyd gets that 9 car up to speed. Of course, part of that Hot Lap Hero stable. A lot of those guys here tonight. Great to see him as the 9 car crosses the start finish line. Dane Lloyd is on the clock here. He'll throw it down in turns number 1 and 2. You guys can kind of see. Kind of tough to tell with this fog out here tonight. I think we got some of those Canadian wildfires coming all the way to Iowa out here in Knoxville. But if you can look closely, there is a berm on that inside line. These drivers got to keep their cars away from that at all costs. That will definitely upset the car right now. Lloyd, quickest on track, lap number 1. We'll see how he can do lap number 2 here. Lloyd off at turn number 4 here. Looks like Tanner Hutchins also out here on the speedway. Hutchins goes quick time with a 17.88. That double OH machine of Tanner Hutchins has that patriotic scheme still on the car, looking very sporty. Also out here on the track is the number 5 that we mentioned before, part of the Hot Lap Heroes gang. It is Darrell Larson. Larson clocks in a 17.95, so looks like Larson will be the slowest just by a few hundredths off of Dane Lloyd as we get our next group. Next group being made up of Dave Payne, Jacob Laster, and Davin Markham. So Jacob Laster needing some good points here tonight. Laster with a new wrap. That thing looking very sporty. Now going with the more gray, white, and orange machine as Jacob Laster here gets that 51 up to speed. He is our shotgun driver here tonight. So Laster's going to start dead last in our main event here tonight since he won last week at, I believe, the Cedar Lake Speedway. So Laster gonna have to use those strats that he learned from Cedar Lake to go all the way from the back, save those tires, and charge back up to the front. He's got a 33-point deficit to our points leader. That is Trevor Mattingly. Laster gonna need all he can get as Laster. Lap number 1 in the books. He will put in an 18.01. Also out on the Speedway is the 38 machine, the B Main Bandit. That is Dave Payne. Of course, last week at Cedar Lake, Peyton picking up the B Main win. He's hoping that he can race his way into tonight's show, not have to be in the B Main. As of right now, all drivers are making the main event, so he doesn't have to worry about getting sent on home. The final car in this group is the 43 machine, that being piloted by Davin Markham. Markham right now 18.01, but with this lap time, he will improve to 17.95. So that puts Jacob Laster right now slowest in this group and slowest overall, as he only improves to 17.99. So right now, Tanner Hutchins stays with the quick time. As we go to group number 3, that is Michael Guerin, Blake Steele, and Cade Gailey. As it looks like we got Blake Steele here in that ghosted number 11 machine. Blake Steele, of course, we always mention throughout the season, this guy, Mr. Consistent, right around that top 5. Still looking for that first breakthrough of the season to park it down in victory lane. But Blake Steele has been consistent, hanging around that top 5 all season long, in case someone makes a mistake. But these boys here at the American Sim Racing Club, very little mistakes, especially big ones at that, when it comes time to put the hammer to the nail. As we got Blake Steele here, he'll dive it through 3 and 4. This is Blake Steele's first time lap in the number 11. Blake Steele off at turn number 4. Steele will go to a 18.09. So it seems like this track slowing on down. But just as I say that, first lap for the 27 Hot Lap Heroes machine, Cade Gailey goes P number 3 with a 17.94. So Gailey finding some speed in that 27 machine. He goes P number 3. We'll see what he can do here on lap number 2. Gailey will not improve. He'll stay P number 3. Also out on the Speedway is a 78 machine, Michael Guerin. Glad to see Michael back here on the Speedway. Guerin, of course, having some PC issues and whatnot throughout the season, preventing him from getting to these racetracks. But glad to see him on back as Michael Guerin out here and qualifying in the 78 machine. Guerin sits right now with an 18.09. Does improve that lap time, but will sit at that, as that will do it for that group. Next group, we have our fast time in practice, that being the 51 machine of Ron Hart. We'll see what Hart can do as he rolls out on the Speedway. Also, we have the designer, the paint man himself of the 789 machine. That is Garrett Marshall. He's also in this group, as well as P number 3 in points, Brandon Marlowe. But we first look at the 51, Ron the Hitman Hart. He's on the clock here at Knoxville. Ron Hart off of turn number 4. He will put in his first lap time. First lap looking like a 17.99, almost an 18, as Brandon Marlowe puts down a 17.98. And Garrett Marshall, we look at him now here in the teal and black machine. Garrett Marshall sits with an 18.04, but improves his lap time just a little bit, 18.02. Also out in this group, he goes quick time to the top of the board. That is a 37 machine, Brandon Marlowe. Finding some speed. Marlowe sits P number 1 with the quick time at the moment. So Marlowe showing that there is still some speed here at the Knoxville Speedway. Marlowe on his final lap does not improve that time, but that time just barely good enough for the quick time, as Brandon Marlowe heads to the top of the timing. As we get our next group, we got 2 Tuckers out here. We got Jordan Tucker here in the 66 machine, making his first time appearance here at the American Sim Racing Club here at Knoxville Speedway. We will see where Jordan Tucker can go. Also following him out on the Speedway is Cam Tucker in the 53 machine. He will roll off behind. Also in this group is the X5 machine of Eric Lake. But off of turn number 4 at the start finish line, Jordan Tucker in the 66 is on the clock. Tucker will let it slide big time into turn number 1. He'll drive it deep here in turns number 3 and 4. Keeps it better in that groove. We'll see what kind of lap time here for the 66 will be. He crosses the start finish line. Jordan Tucker goes with an 18.14. Cam Tucker, now we look at in the 53 machine, or the 049 in the time and scoring, sits P number 15 with an 18.16. So it definitely seems like it takes a lap to get these pro late models up to speed and throw it on in there for a good lap. As now Cam Tucker goes to P number 12. Also in this group is the Scooby-Doo Racing car, the X5. We just see there on us for a second as Eric Lake quickly done with qualifying. Eric Lake in the X5 sits P number 13 here, as it looks like that will probably do it here for qualifying for this group as they slow on up and we get our second to last group here, as now we get both Mattingleys in this group. We got T-Matt, Trevor Mattingly, Bobby Mattingly, and the 91 machine of Aaron Kirby. All three of these guys teammates here as Trevor Mattingly wasting no time to get this 13T up to speed. He'll jump the cushion, get that thing wound up. Trevor Mattingly off of turn number 4. Our points leader is on the clock here tonight at Knoxville. He'll dive it down in there. Just keep that left front in front of that slick. That is a great line through 1 and 2. He'll power that thing down the backstretch here. Dive it down into turns number 3 and 4. He is right where he needs to be, folks, in that line, in the good sticky stuff. As Trevor Mattingly, lap number 1, only good for P number 14. So you got to wonder, is this track going away as Trevor Mattingly tries to search for some speed here tonight? Trevor Mattingly here on lap number 2 off of turn number 4. He will, let's see how much his time improves. Mattingly goes to the top with that lap, folks. He goes quick time with a 17.86. Also out in this group is the 91 machine, that being piloted by Aaron Kirby. Kirby just getting here at the last second. He's able to get there out there on the Speedway. Aaron Kirby right now sits P number 17 with 0 practice laps. Kirby trying to figure out this setup and this track. We'll see if he can improve, because Trevor Mattingly shows there's still some speed here tonight as he goes quick time. Aaron Kirby doesn't find any more speed. He'll stay at an 18.21. And it looks like Bobby Mattingly does not make the call for his group as we get ready for our final group here tonight. That being Chuck Darling in the 88 and the 21, or the another 88 on the wrap. That is Jacob Smith. First, we'll take a look here at Chuck Darling and the dual 88 qualifying group here tonight. As Chuck Darling, a lot of sponsors on that car. We got Dead Short Race Car Wiring, Horsepower Happening, Northside Towing, and of course Mark Racing, and of course Race1.us, putting on some great wraps on some of these cars. As Chuck Darling here in the 88, he's on the clock here at Knoxville. Darling will get a piece of the wall though down the backstretch. That will disallow this first lap, so Darling has to re-rack and go back on the attack, as that first lap does not count for the 88 machine. We'll see what Darling can do here on lap number 2. Looks like Jacob Smith does put in a 18.14 on lap number 1. We'll see if he can improve here as we take a look here still at Chuck Darling, seeing if he can get a lap time and what it will be. As it looks like it'll be an 18.21. Jacob Smith, though, finding a little bit of speed. He puts himself just out of the side of the top 10 with a 17.99. Jacob Smith at the final time at the flag stand does not improve. He will stay in that 11th spot, tied with Jacob Blaster and Ron Hart here. He is another driver, another one of the Hot Lap Hero gang. I mean, I feel like a lot of guys just pulling them out of the woodworks. I mean, I don't know how many more cars they can field, as I feel like now we're up to at least half the field are those guys, as it looks like we got one car late for qualifying. Last car to go out. It is the 518 machine of Joseph Grandy. Grandy out here in kind of the ghosted gray 518 machine. We'll see what he can do, as Bobby Manley still does not make the call. He might start dead last here in this 21 car field here tonight at Knoxville. But looking out on the raceway here, Joseph Grandy is on the clock in the 518 machine. Grandy lap number 1, only good for P number 19 and 18.51. So this track very difficult, but as we see, lap number 1 very tough to get a good lap. We'll see what he can do here on lap number 2. This is where it should count. Joseph Grandy crosses the start finish line, and he will only improve to an 18.13 final time around the speedway here for the 518 machine of Grandy, as he looks to try and find a little bit more speed. He'll sail it down into turns number 3 and 4, off of turn number 4 for the final time. Joseph Grandy will improve his lap time to an 18.02, and I believe that will probably do it here in qualifying. As we look at the 3M machine of Bobby Manley to try and roll here in qualifying. And it looks like Trevor Mattingly in the 13 TR points leader will be tonight's quick time here, as we get ready now to head over to heat racing action here. As we get heat races rocking and rolling here. Heat race number 1 lining up here on the front stretch. Sorry, pit road. So quick time, Trevor Mattingly will lead the field to the green flag in the 13T. Starting to his outside is the 27 machine of Cade Gailey. Row number 2 is Davin Markham in the 43, starting P number 3. P number 4 going to the 151 or the 51 on the car, that being piloted by Jacob Laster. Row number 3 starting in P number 5 goes to the 518 machine of Joseph Grandy, with the X5 of Eric Lake starting in 6th. Then starting shotgun on the field here in heat race number 1 is the 88 machine, Chuck Darling, rolling off P number 7. So that will be tonight's starting order for heat race number 1 here tonight. Top 4 locking themselves into the main event. The rest of the guys having to go and race their way through the B main to get their starting order. We have 21 cars, so that means none of them are getting sent on home. So we won't have to worry about anyone not making the show, but the B main will be the final way to set the last spots from 13th on back. So there is still a little something to race for in those B mains as we get the 1 to go signal. Next time by, we're going green flag racing here for the first time tonight. So 1 and 2 in points starting in this heat race. If you win a heat race, you get 4 bonus points. That's going to be a lot to take into account as we go green flag race in action. Trevor Manley gets away with a great start. He'll check out way in front as now Jacob Laster tries to dice his way through the field. Cade Gailey with a little bit of an issue. He'll drop to the back, a little bit of blinking, but now gets that thing sorted out as Jacob Laster tries to get around Davin Markham for that second spot. Everyone has single filed out here in heat race number 1. It goes Trevor Manley leading the way, Davin Markham second, Jacob Laster third, Joseph Grandy in 4th, and Grandy catching the back bumper of Laster ever so slightly. You gotta keep an eye on this. Top 4 are locked into the main event, so Chuck Darling started dead last. He's up to 5th and trying to lock himself on in that 5th position. Has to get around 1 more car. Last time by, Trevor Manley, best lap out of anyone on the speedway. Mattingly trying to check out and increase that points lead ever so slightly. This time by at the start finish line here, folks, we will see 4 laps to go. So everyone's strung on out for the most part, as the racing for these middle spots is far from over. Joseph Grandy, excuse me, keeping the pressure on Jacob Lasser. Lasser kind of searching, trying to find that line, but nothing really there yet for the 51. He'll sail it deep into there into turn number 1, make it stick. Dab Markham getting some great runs out of these corners, as he can definitely feel the pressure from Lasser. As further on back, maybe contact or for sure change in position. Chuck Darling gets around Joseph Grandy. Here comes Cade Gailey as well with 2 to go. Battle for the transfer spot is on as Cade Gailey is there to the back bumper of Chuck Darling. They'll see the white flag here at the start finish line. 1 more lap to go. Side by side battle for the last transfer spot here in heat race number 1. Chuck Darling tries to keep his foot in it on the top side, get that momentum. He'll go to half a car length advantage through 3 and 4. The field will come. Trevor Manley picks up the win, but the battle off at turn number 4. Chuck Darling will hang on to P number 4 and lock himself on it. So it goes Trevor Manley, Davin Markham, Jacob Laster, and Chuck Darling will be the top 4 there as we get ready to head over to heat race number 2 here tonight. The starting order for heat race number 2 looks like the following. Brandon Marlowe and the 37 Hot Lap Heroes machine will start on the pole and lead the field to the green flag. To his outside starting P number 2. And the 9, also part of the Hot Lap Hero stable, it is Dan Lloyd. Then to row number 2, starting in the 3rd position, is the 38 ASRC machine. That is Dave Payton. Then to his outside in P number 4 is the 21 on my scoring, or the 88 on the car. That is Jacob Smith. Then row number 3, it's a 7, 8, 9 man himself, Garrett Marshall, rolling off 5th, with Jordan Tucker in the 66 rolling off in 6th. Then starting shotgun on the field, had 0 laps of practice. That is the 91 machine of Aaron Kirby. So just like before, folks, top 4 locking themselves into the main event. The rest of the guys having to race through the B main to decide their starting order from 13th on back. We get the 1 to go signal here, folks. Next time by, we're going green flag racing for heat race number 2 here tonight at the Knoxville Raceway. The iRacers pace truck will jump on the loud pedal, get off the racing surface. Is now Brandon Marlowe, and the 37 machine will jump on the loud pedal here, folks. We go green flag racing here for heat race number 2. The field will dive it down into turn number 1. Dan Lloyd able to get that 9 car down to that bottom side. Jacob Smith trying to find some traction up top and trying to go around Dave Payton the long way, as Aaron Kirby trying to get around some cars here, races way into a transfer spot as he started dead last, picked off 1 car in lap number 1. He's looking for more here, as already everyone single files out here tonight at the Knoxville Raceway. Looks like Jacob Smith does get around Dave Payton on the top side. That moves Smith up into P number 3 as Brandon Marlowe continues to lead the way here tonight. Dave Payton in a big-time hot lap hero sandwich here. He's got Smith in front of him, Garrett Marshall behind. Now Marshall looks to the top side of Payton. He's trying to get around him to lock himself into the main event without going to that B main. Marshall trying to keep that momentum. Payton will slide on up, get that thing sideways. That opens up the door now for Aaron Kirby, who will sail it on in there, slam on the binders to try and get that thing rotated. as everyone trying to get around now this 38 machine. Brandon Marlowe continues to lead the way, but we keep an eye on the battle for this transfer spot. Dave Payne doing a great job though in that 38 machine, making that car as wide as possible. And even if someone does look to the top side, he's kicking that right rear quarter panel out to try and not let them get that run. That might let someone get on around him as Payne continues to keep that car to the low side. Marshall continues to think about the top side. This time they go side by side, but Marshall has the long way around that top side, but he's got some momentum now. They go side by side. A little bit of contact here for the last transfer spot. Marshall keeping his foot in it. He's trying to build up that momentum on the top side. We'll see the white flag. Brandon Marlowe continues to lead the way as the last transfer spot slide job here. Dave Payne will slide on up. Garrett Marshall will now go to this inside line. Final time by these two going at it for the spot. Off at turn number 4, Brandon Marlowe picks up the win, and it'll be a photo finish between Garrett Marshall and Dave Payne for that spot, but it will go to Garrett Marshall. Dave Payne will have to go to the B main, but try and pick up another one as he has the most B main wins out of anyone this season. That was a heck of a race for that last transfer spot. As we get ready here for our final heat race of the night. Leading the field to green, it is the double OH machine, that being piloted by Tanner Hudgens. Starting to his outside is the 5 machine out of Florida. It is Daryl Larson. Then we head to row number 2, the 11 Ghost machine. He's Mr. Consistent. It is Blake Steele. Then to his outside, the Iron Man winner himself. He got his banner in the middle last week. It is Ron the Hitman Hart. Then we head to the final row in the 53, that being piloted by Cam Tucker. Usually has a great following, cheering him on each and every week. Then to his outside is the 78 machine, that is Michael Guerin. And then starting dead last on the field, did not make a qualifying lap, still having some issues it looks like. That will be the 3M machine of Bobby Mattingly. So the field gets the 1 to go signal. Next time by, we are going green flag racing here in heat race number 3, the final heat race of the night. The final 4 cars locking themselves in, and then we'll have our B main right after this to decide the starting order of the field from 13th on back. Through turns number 3 and 4, Tanner Hudgens now on the loud pedal here. We go to green flag racing here in heat race number 3. Hudgens gets away with a great start. Same with Blake Steele. Steele now to the inside of Daryl Larson. Larson trying to keep his foot in the loud pedal. Does hang on to P number 2. Now Ron Hart looks to the inside of the 11. He'll get a little bit sideways, get some tire spinach action, and Cam Tucker may be there to pounce. Not quite that lap. As these heat races, it has shown, it quickly gets single filed out here at the Knoxville Raceway. Tanner Hudgens continues to lead the way over Daryl Larson. Blake Steele sits P number 3. Last car in the transfer spot is the 51 machine of Ron Hart. That's the way that it started so far. No changes of positions here tonight. Everyone staying right where they qualified. As these guys trying to figure out some speed here tonight at the Knoxville Raceway. Looks like still too early, folks, to jump to that middle to top lane yet. Everyone's still right around the bottom, right around a car length or 2 off from that inside berm. Tanner Hudgens still out in front. Hudgens picking up a win last season, still looking for his first win of this season. Hudgens looking very strong here tonight at Knoxville. Qualified 3rd quick and now leading the way here in heat race number 3. Here comes a battle though for P number 2. Looked like Daryl Larson had to get out of the throttle just a little bit down the backstretch. That opened up the door for Blake Steele. Steele got to the inside but not able to put the power down off of turn number 4. He'll slot back into that 3rd position. Tanner Hutchins here off of turn number 4. We'll see popsicle sticks here in heat race number 3. 2 laps to go around the Knoxville Raceway. So far, everyone kind of running their own race. The battle between 2nd through 4th heating on up just a little bit, but it is very difficult to pass here tonight as everyone just keeping that momentum. As long as you don't make a big mistake, folks, it is going to be very tough to get around people as we see the white flag out here. 1 more lap to go as this heat race number 3, though, this line slowly moving on up. These guys going more and more to the middle of the racetrack, so we should see by the end of the B main some high side ripping. But off of turn number 4, Tanner Hutchins picks up the heat win here in heat race number 3. Darrell Larson 2nd, Blake Steele 3rd, Ron Hart in 4th, and that rounds out tonight's heat racing action as we get some warm up here tonight as we get cars out here on the speedway warming it on up. So we're going to go to commercial break. We'll be right back on the other side. Don't go anywhere, folks.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
We come back here at the Knoxville Raceway, so no B main here tonight. All drivers making the show, so they're going to line up from their heat racing position. So with a little bit of time, there is only 3 races left in this series, folks. We have on July 23rd, we go to USA Covered in the Dirt for a 45-lap main event. Then July 30th, we have the 75-lapper at the Weed Sports Speedway. And then our season finale on August 6th, we go to Dirt Charlotte Motor Speedway for a 100-lap main event. That is going to see a lot of tire saving, That's going to be a fun one to watch. Heading over to the points, we have Trevor Madley leading the points with 454 points. Then Jacob Laster in second, 33 points back with 421. Then third in points is Brandon Marlowe with 407. Blake Steele sits in fourth in points with 355. And Bobby Madley with 315 sitting in fifth. So that is the top 5 in the points here with 3 weeks left of dirt track racing before we get ready for season number 3 and see how that turns on out. But heat race winners here tonight: Trevor Madley, Brandon Marlowe, and Tanner Hutchins. Those 3 will start in the first 3 rows here tonight as we get ready now to wrap up warm-up. These drivers have broken in this track. We get ready now for our 50-lap main event here at the Knoxville Raceway here in Knoxville, Iowa. For the main event, here is tonight's starting order. T-Matt himself, Trevor Madley, and the 13T will lead the field to the green flag, our points leader. Brandon Marlowe in the 37 Hot Lap Heroes machine will roll off outside pole. Row number 2 be made with Tanner Hutchins in the OOH, with Davin Markham in the 43 starting to his outside. Row number 3 has the 9 machine starting in P number 5 of Dan Lloyd. Darrell Larson in the 5 will roll off P number 6. 7th going to the 151 of Jacob Laster. He will start to the back. He'll drop to the back here as Jacob Smith in the 21 or 88 on the car will roll off 8th. 9th going to the 11 car of Blake Steele. Starting in 10th is Chuck Darling in the 88. 11th going to Garrett Marshall in the 789 car, with Ron the Hitman Hart in the 51 rolling off in 12th. 13th will be the 27 machine of Cade Gailey. 14th going to Dave Payne in the 38. Cam Tucker in the 53, or the 049 in the scoring, will roll off 15th. 16th going to Joseph Grandy in the 518. Aaron Kirby in the 91. 17th, Michael Guerin in the 78 in 18th. 19th is X5 of Eric Lake. 20th going to Jordan Tucker in the 66. And Bobby Madley still trying to get those things sorted out. He's at least on pit lane. Will start shotgun on the field in 21st. As the field gets ready to go green flag racing, Trevor Madley will lead the field to green for these 50 laps here at Knoxville. The field heads through 3 and 4 and off at turn number 4. Trevor Madley on the loud pedal here. We go green flag racing here at Knoxville. Trevor Madley gets away with a great start. Brandon Marlowe hangs on to second. Davin Markham with the advantage on that top side. He'll slide into third. Tanner Hutchins will slide into that 4th position, but quickly go back to that inside lane, get a piece of that curb, trying to get that OOH machine rotated. Dan Lloyd here in the 9, a little squirrely on corner entry. That checks up Blake Steele in that ghosted number 11 machine. So far it's battle for the race lead. Brandon Marlowe looks to the left rear of Trevor Madley. He'll dive it down in there, but Trevor Madley has the advantage off the corner. They stay side by side as we get a yellow flag here. It looks like the 78 machine with some heavy damage. Same with the 27, also involved here on the front stretch. We take a look here, and oh man, it looks like already Michael Guerin with some issues. That car not having any control. You see that right front already broke on that car, and it looks like Cade Gailey nowhere to go. And oh, Bobby Madley comes in there late with the RKO to the driver's side door of the 78 machine. So at least Michael Guerin probably out of this race. Same with Bobby Madley. as that was a big time hit for some of those drivers here tonight to bring out our first yellow flag here. We take a look one more time, see what happened to the 78. I mean, we see there the 78 definitely slow, but not sure what happened further on back. All right, we get a little bit further back. It looks like Michael Guerin jumps the cushion. He gets a big time piece of the wall with the right front. You already see that right front kind of shaken and out of control. He has lost steering in that car. Cade Gailey, wrong place, wrong time. And then Guerin will get RKO'd here by Bobby Madley, just trying to get that lap back. And that is a tough break for these drivers involved there. So a quick yellow here in the main event. Driver Madley continues to lead the way. Brandon Marlowe second. Davin Markham third. Tanner Hutchins looks like fourth. And Darrell Larson rounds out the top 5 here at the moment. So it looks like Delaware double foul start. Driver Madley will be out by himself, out in front. Brandon Marlowe takes the high side. That moves Davin Markham up to this inside of the second row. Off of turn number 4, Trevor Madley on the loud pedal. We go back, green flag racing action here at Knoxville. Brandon Marlowe trying to keep that momentum up top to get around that 43 machine. Driver Madley trying to keep that advantage out in front. We look a little bit further back at some great side-by-side racing action here around the mid-pack here tonight. One car on the move here early. That is the 88 machine of Jacob Smith. Smith already up 3 positions from where he started. He's a man on a mission. The biggest mover, though, so far is this X5 of Eric Lake. Lake finding some speed in his top side, and he is going to the front in a hurry as we get 3 wide racing action. As, man, that was close. Cam Tucker had to shut the door on the 518 machine of Joseph Grandy, as now Cam Tucker to the inside of Blake Steele. Steele definitely in some tire saving action. That now puts Eric Lake to the middle. 3 wide off of turn number 4. 3 wide here once again, as Grandy says it's go time as well. So a lot of differing strategies here tonight at Knoxville. How much do you save? This race only 50 laps, but a very high speed track. You know, you don't want to blow off this right front here early as they continue to stay 3 wide. Now Eric Lake will get clear and move up 8 spots from where he started. Another driver on the move. That is the 789 design car of Garrett Marshall. Marshall up 6 spots, sits in the top 5 here at the moment, as now Davin Markham challenges for the race lead here tonight on Trevor Madley. Madley trying to hang on to the race lead, save that right rear as much as he can. Markham trying to make this inside line work here. Markham off of turn number 4. Looks like he will lead this lap. Davin Markham leads this lap as we get 10 laps in the book of the scheduled 50. Now Markham has some company in this inside lane. Garrett Marshall has got to the back bumper of the 43. Trevor Madley says, all right, I got to turn it up a little bit. He jumps on the loud pedal, able to get clear of that inside lane. Trevor Madley says maybe it's time to go just a little bit. Brandon Marlowe trying to judge his pace off of our race leaders. Marlowe has been in the tire tracks of Trevor Madley all night long here so far in the early part of this race. Very tight racing in the top 6. I want to say you can throw a blanket over the top 6 as they are 2 by 2 for at least 2.5 rows back, as these guys committed to their lanes and just trying to make these cars work, as they know they can't go full on out just yet, but they know what line they want to be in, and they're sitting right where they want to be. As the laps continue to click on down further on back, we see a lot of single file racing action as our shotgun driver Jacob Laster being very patient out here. Laster sits about 12 seconds back from the field. He's not even sideways out here tonight. You can see he's doing the Cedar Lake move, just keeping that car straight underneath him, not pushing this thing whatsoever, trying to keep that tire underneath him, hoping for that late race yellow, and then turn up the wick as we go back up to the front. These guys throwing it on down. Trevor Manley continues to lead the way. Dab Markham, Brandon Marlowe side by side. Here comes Tanner Hutchins though on the top side. Jacob Smith just looking for any sort of open lane. And Chuck Darling, where did he come from? He sits P number 7 here. So it seems like most cars are in that that middle to top lane here. Only cars really ripping that inside line is the 43 and the 789. Chuck Darling thought about it that lap, but it looks like he'll go back to that top middle line. One car last time by, a little bit out of sorts, was the 51 of Ron Hart. Almost 3 wide race in action. Contact between Dave Payne and Ron Hart here off the corner. Ron Hart trying to keep that car underneath him, saving some right rear tire. Same with Dave Payne and Blake Steele, looks like. As we go back up to the front, Markham still challenging Brandon Marlowe for that second position. But Trevor Manley continues to sit out in front, about a car length or 2 advantage over that side-by-side battle for second. Brandon Marlowe with a great run down the front stretch. He closes all the way up to the back bumper of Trevor Manley. We got to jump on board with our race leader and look back at this battle. I mean, look at these guys just side by side behind him as we jump on board and see some lap times of our race leader. His best lap time, 19.00. The last couple times, that time Trevor Manley on it. He almost matches his best lap time. So Trevor Manley, as we get closer to this halfway point, says maybe it's time to turn it on up. And that it is, as Trevor Manley last time by, quickest lap for him of the session with an 18.989. So we take a look back as that inside line starting to fall apart. Looks like only Dab Markham down there, as the 789 design car of Garrett Marshall does get back up to the top side behind Jacob Smith. We head back up here to the race lead. Trevor Manley continues to lead the way over Brandon Marlowe. Tanner Hutchins, though, he started third. He's hanging on to third as he is right in the tire tracks of those leaders. Jacob Smith has come to the front in a hurry and has since parked it, and P number 4 is still hanging on to this top side, just waiting for a mistake. Dav Markham able to hang on to P number 5, but Garrett Marshall tries to get a nose to the top side as Markham once again goes down low. Here comes Garrett Marshall in the 789 Designs car. Garrett Marshall takes over a top 5 spot with that move on the top side. Chuck Darling, though, under fire from the 5 of Darrell Larson as these guys continue to throw it on down. Here comes a guy for the first time on this bottom side. Jacob Smith says, all right, it's time to jump out line, see what this inside line has. He's trying to get around Tanner Hutchins for that third position, maybe even more, as Brandon Marlowe makes a mistake through 3 and 4. That moves up Jacob Smith to door with the 37 machine. Jacob Smith saving some tires. We see cross flags, though, last time by, halfway down, halfway home for this field, as Jacob Smith making a push here, as here comes the field to lap Jacob Laster. Laster needs to start jumping on the loud pedal or hoping for a yellow flag, as those leaders are catching him here in a hurry. Last time by, Laster did a 19.20. Leaders were about a 19.15, so Laster's going to have to step it on up here to not go a lap down and hope and pray to get another late race yellow like we did at Cedar Lake. Definitely Jacob Laster on the loud pedal here, trying not to go lap down last time by a 19.11, so Laster definitely trying to go as Brandon Marlowe now goes to the inside of Trevor Manley for the race lead, side by side here for the lead here with 22 laps to go. Brandon Marlowe trying to get the job done He's trying to pick up another win for the 37 machine. He already has one this season. He would love to make it two, as Trevor Manley continues to rip that top side. Last time we were here at Knoxville, though, Trevor Manley made that inside line work and drove away from the field. Tonight, it's not the same. He stays up in the cushion as we do get the yellow flag. This is what Jacob Laster wanted to see. As we get a yellow flag, I believe it involved the 51 of Ron Hart and maybe the 27, as we take a look here and see what happened to Ron Hart. To the front stretch, these two go, Ron Hart and the 27 of Cade Gailey. Gailey trying to come back from that early initial yellow, and Gailey just got in there too hot, got to the back bumper, Ron Hart, and that just enough sent him on around. Blake Steele with some great wreck avoidance, avoiding both those spinning cars, and that will be enough to bring out our second yellow flag of the night. Jacob Laster just barely stays on the lead lap. Now restarts all the way back in like P number 17. So we'll have to see how that shakes on out. See how he can get around this field, as it is a tough one to pass here tonight at Knoxville. As we get the field ready to rock and roll, Bobby Manley does get the wave round, and then we'll have the Delaware double file restart. Trevor Manley will start by himself. I assume Brandon Marlowe will pick the high side. That'll move Jacob Smith to this inside line. Jacob Smith, first time action here tonight at the American Sim Racing Club, and he's showing that he deserves to be here. He sits in a podium spot as he made that move to that inside. We'll have to see how he can make it stick here with 20 laps to go when we go back green flag racing action. One driver number we got to keep an eye on once we go back green flag racing is the 151 of Jacob Laster. He starts off in the 17th spot. We'll have to see what he can do to come back through tonight's field. As with this restart, folks, I'm going to take a break from talking, and we're going to do a little turn 3, turn it up here on the start. As the field gets ready to go back green flag racing action, they will come through 3 and 4, and we'll do everyone's favorite. We'll do some turn 3, turn it up. We come back here with the caution flag out on the Speedway. Some big hits as we had Davin Markham get in the wall there in 3 and 4. I was just coming back to call that, and then some more piling on up here as we get the yellow flag. We take a look to see what happened. 3 wide race in action. I don't think Eric Lake thought the 34 was going to be there, and then some big time hits here as Dave Payne gets in there. Same with Cam Tucker, and some big hits for some of those cars here on that top side. Dave Payne with a lot of right front damage. Same with Eric Lake. and you saw 3 wide race in action, just running out of real estate as Davin Markham brings that 43 machine to pit side. As out in front, Trevor Manley continues to lead the way. He got away with a great start and was able to hang on to it as side by side behind him for a while, but Tanner Hutchins able to take over that 3rd spot. So now Hutchins will probably have to start in that 3rd position. Jacob Laster from 17th that last start all the way up to 12th. So Laster trying to make his way through this field here. When we go back, green flag race in action, folks, it will be 17 laps to go. As Trevor Manley trying to go flag to flag here tonight. Doesn't lead all the laps, but trying to pick up another win and help out that point situation. If Trevor Manley does win, he's got to start at the back at USA, though. A lot to take into account, as now it looks like Brandon Marlowe will, in fact, take that top side. Who would have guessed? That puts Tanner Hutchins on that inside lane, and everyone else behind will double it on up. And we get ready to go back. Green flag race in action here for tonight's race at Knoxville Raceway. The iRacing pace truck jumps on the loud pedal, gets off the racing surface. Now we wait for Trevor Manley to jump on it. He will do so now off of turn number 4. Man, Tanner Hutchins with a great start. He'll take over P number 2, and we'll see what he has for our race leader as it goes Manley, Hutchins, and now Brandon Marlowe. Tanner Hutchins looking for that first win of the season. 1 car in the wall. That is Jacob Smith. Smith hangs it up to this top side. It looks like that front end still connected. He's able to keep that right front off the wall, but loses a lot of spots. Jacob Smith comes back in the race all the way back into P number 16. So not what he wanted to see here on late race restart. Further on back, side-by-side racing action. Joseph Grandy trying to hold off of Ron Hart. Hart will sail it down in this inside lane, slide on up, make contact with Grandy. That was a big-time hit between those two. They somehow keep it going, but Grandy not going to be happy with the 51 machine with that move. That opens up the door for Jordan Tucker in the 66, and here comes Jacob Laster. He makes contact with Blake Steele there as they go 3 wide with Darrell Larson off of turn number 2. So Jacob Laster now inside of the top 5 once he completes his pass on Darrell Larson. Not quite able to do it there. Here comes Blake Steele with the run on the top side. So Laster's still hanging on to that inside lane. He's trying to go wherever no one is not. Now Ron Hart around Chuck Darling in the 88 machine. Chuck Darling still trying to hang on to that inside lane. It seems like, folks, you want to be on that top side as all causes. We look up to the leaders here. Trevor Manley continues to lead the way over Tanner Hutchins, who's right in his tire tracks. This time by, we will see not quite 10 to go as we get a yellow flag in it. It looks like maybe not sure who all involved here as we take a look down the backstretch here. Oh, maybe Jacob Laster didn't realize he wasn't clear off the nose of Blake Steele. He will go on around. Then further on back, some cars get collected to the inside wall, but no real big hits as Cam Tucker slides in there late. Just bounces off the outside walls. That could have been a lot worse as we get the yellow flag there. As we now on this restart, we'll get inside of 10 laps to go. Tanner Hutchins up into second. Trevor Manley continues to lead the way. Brandon Marlowe up, falls back to third as, man, Jacob Laster on a great climb back through the field does claim that yellow as he wasn't quite clear on that move. So Laster goes all the way back of this field. That is a tough break for our second place runner in points, who needed a solid race here tonight with Trevor Madley leading the way. So to no surprise, Tanner Hutchins will take that outside lane. That moves Brandon Marlowe down into that inside of row number 2. Trevor Manley out there in front with the Delaware double file restart. We get ready to go back green flag racing action with 10 laps to go at the start finish line. Trevor Manley will wait, keep everyone guessing. He'll jump on the loud pedal. We go back green flag racing action here at the Knoxville Raceway. We'll see him dive down into turn number 1. Hutchins on the high side trying to get a big run on Trevor Manley, not quite able to do it. Blake Steele once again inside the top 5. He'll throw it down in there deep in this middle line, try and get clear of Garrett Marshall, not quite able to do it. And look at this guy, up 11 spots. Aaron Kirby in the 91 machine. He is a man on a mission. He's trying to get up into the top 5, maybe even a podium, as he is tracking in the right direction. He has saved his stuff, and that 91 machine looking very sporty here with 8 laps to go. Aaron Kirby trying to piece one together here tonight at Knoxville. Had 0 laps of practice, gets a little bit out of shape there. He loses a handful of spots. Contact between him and Ron Hart. Somehow those drivers will save it, but Aaron Kirby loses a handful of spots. Now Ron Hart on the attack. He'll try and slide in front of Garrett Marshall. Somehow those cars don't go around. Usually any sort of rear end contact, those cars are done for. Somehow Ron Hart hangs on to it. Garrett Marshall doesn't spin that car, but man, that was a gutsy move by Ron Hart. That could have ended very badly for the 51, as here comes Aaron Kirby back, as Trevor Manley has checked out to about 3/4 of a second advantage over Tanner Hutchins, who has Brandon Marlowe right on his back bumper here with 6 laps to go. We jump on board with Tanner Hutchins looking on back here. And I mean, you can't see too much down these corners, but we look at the bars here and see how close this battle is for this second position as we ride on board with our second place runner, Tanner Hutchins. So it goes Mattingly. Oh, as we get a yellow flag here, it looks like this does involve the 11 of Blake Steele, and that car looks heavily damaged. That rear end definitely not straight in that car. He'll bring that thing down to pit side, and you see that left rear cocked all sorts of funny as we try and take a look, see what happened to bring out our 5th yellow. Blake Steele right in front of Ron Hart here as they almost make contact. Now they definitely do. Ron Hart jacks up Blake Steele. Steele trying to hang on to that car as neither of them getting out of the way. That will send Blake Steele down. Jacob Laster almost gets a piece of it. Then Steele, having no control, spins up in front of the field, and Cam Tucker, having nowhere to go, gives a big shot to the back bumper of Cam Tucker, and that will be a tough end to both those cars' nights. It looks like Blake Steele does try and stay out here with that damaged car, and you see how badly that car is damaged here tonight. As it looks like no driver taking the claim, so it looks like Ron Hart will roll off on this restart all the way up into P number 4. Aaron Kirby needed this yellow because that will put him back into contention. Single file restart from here on out, folks. As the lights go out around the Knoxville Raceway, we get the 1 to go signal here inside of 5 laps to go. Trevor Manley leading the way over the field, and it's about to be a wild one, folks. The field will come single file here inside of 10 laps to go off of turn number 4. Trevor Manley on the loud pedal here. We go back, green flag racing action here with 4 laps to go here tonight. Ron Hart trying to make that inside line work. He's trying to get up on the podium. Here comes Aaron Kirby as well. Kirby gets a nice run off of turn number 2. He'll dive it down to the inside of the 51 here through 3 and 4. He'll make contact with Brandon Marlowe. They'll bounce it off each other's. Now Ron Hart right on the back bumper. It is a 3-car battle here for the 3rd position before it's all said and done. Oh, Aaron Kirby goes. He somehow saves it. He gets contact with Ron Hart for that 4th position. Aaron Kirby not going to be happy. Jacob Laster, where did he come from? He's back up almost in the top 5. He's got one more car to go around to get back up into 5th as we see popsicle sticks up in the air. 2 laps to go here at Knoxville Raceway. You look a little bit further back here, battle for P number 8 as Dan Lloyd tries to hold off Chuck Darling and Jacob Smith. The field will see the white flag here. 1 more lap to go for our race leader. Trevor Manley has been the man to be here tonight at Knoxville, and he's keeping that crown as he will try and go 2 in a row here at Knoxville off of turn number 4. Trevor Mattingly will get the job done. He'll pick up the win here at Knoxville. Photo finish for that 3rd spot. Ron Hart will just beat out Brandon Marlowe for 3rd. We'll be talking to Trevor Manley, Ron Hart, and Tanner Hutchins, as that was a heck of a race there, folks. As wow. As we go to the front stretch here with our race winner, Trevor Mattingly will try and find the way down to victory lane and park it. Here on the other side, folks, we'll be talking to our top 3 here, so don't go anywhere, folks. Alrighty, folks, we come back here with our post-race interviews. Our first driver we'll be talking to is our 3rd place finisher, Ron Hart. Ron, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
Yeah, I got you, Brett.
Alrighty, Ron. Man, that was a heck of a race. Tell us a little bit about what you saw out of that 51 machine. I mean, in the end, you move up 9 spots tied for the biggest mover here tonight.
Yeah, Brett, I think it's career best for the dirt. First time I got a top 3 in the dirt. Saved some good tire at the beginning and probably didn't make a lot of friends the second half of the race. But, man, I had a lot of more tire than those guys and had to use it. You know, you don't ride around in the back for the first half of the race to just sit in line the second half. So the only way to pass is to use a little bumper, a little door, and that's what I did and was able to get up to a top 3. So we'll take it.
Yeah, Ron, we got to ask, you made some very awesome moves for the broadcast. Some might say it's aggressive. I mean, you said it there. I mean, you knew it was time to go, and you said, especially here at Knoxville, it looked like it was very tough to pass.
Yeah, I mean, especially, you know, everything went to the top like these dirt races do. And I've kind of watched Jacob last couple of weeks, you know, save tires and then just come through there and do what you got to do, you know, and if you got to slide a guy, you got to bump a guy or, you know, move a guy, you got to do it. Otherwise you just run out of laps. They come so fast. So, you know, if you got a chance, you got to take it. It's cutthroat at the end. You know, I mean, guys aren't going to like it, but, you know, they can save tire too, like the rest of us did in the back. And, you know, if you want to burn them off at the beginning, you got to be ready for the guys coming from behind.
Yeah, and that you definitely were, Ron. I mean, I want to say around the halfway point, you're sitting right around that 10th position. I mean, definitely tire saving the key, but once you got to passing, I mean, what was the key? We saw some sliders that, man, a pavement guy like you, I don't think would ever dare to make, but you're making them and making them stick at that.
Getting better with some practice. I appreciate guys like Eric Lake and help me out with this and teach me a little bit about how to do it. And it's been fun trying to learn something new. Definitely not my forte at all, but I think I'm getting better at it. Happy to get a top 3 here, and it's a lot more aggressive, Brett, here than it is in asphalt. You can be patient, set a guy up in asphalt and pass him. In this, I feel like you got to slide him or you got to give him a bumper to move him a little bit to pass him. It's the only way I know how to do it. Otherwise, everybody just runs in line. So it is what it is, and maybe a little frustration from getting beat up in the real car last night and having a rough race, and it kind of felt good to give it back a little bit tonight, maybe.
Yeah, Ron, you definitely dished it on out for your best podium here tonight. You finished third place on the dirt, and I tell you what, Ron, with this season, how it's going, I think you might be definitely in contention for one of the biggest, let's say, most improved drivers throughout the season. I mean, especially after the dirt update, I bet it all came down to tire saving and learning how to do those slide jobs throughout the season. Is that the case?
Yeah, just trying to get faster too. And I think I was fastest in practice tonight. And qualifying so crazy how the track changes. And I haven't really learned that yet, but just having speed is nice too. A little bit of both. Learn how to race these cars and learn how to have speed and be a lot more smooth. You would think you get more gas than you do, but really you're never wide open in these things. And it's just a whole different chore than what we normally do on asphalt.
Yeah, that it is, Ron. You said it best there, as these things a totally different beast. Well, Ron, before we let you go and celebrate your first podium on the dirt, I'm going to go hand over the mic to you and thank who you got to thank on this 51 machine here tonight.
Yeah, thanks to Zach for putting on a league. It's cool how many cars we get every week in this. It's 20 plus cars. I wish we get that in all the leagues. So I got a real sponsor now. Better Buy Muffler and Brakes on the real car. I guess I should shout them out. And that's about it, but I go up here now and get yelled at by a few guys probably, but it was worth it.
Yeah, you definitely put on a great show, Ron, to finish P number 3. You have yourself a great rest of the night, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Great run.
Thanks, Brett.
Alrighty, now we head to our runner-up finisher, that being the double OH, Tanner Hutchins. Do you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, Tanner. Tell us a little bit about your race. You have some good speed. You qualified third quick, pick up the win in heat race number 3, and then during the race, you get a great restart on that inside lane, hang with Trevor Mattingly, but in the end, come up one spot short for your first win this season. I got to ask, how are you feeling after that? That was a great run by you here tonight at Knoxville.
Actually, pretty surprised. I don't really care much for that track. I've never really been good at it. And before we started the race, me and Trevor and Bobby and Aaron was all like, well, we need to figure out a way to save our tires. And for the first 25, 30 laps, I was following behind Trevor and Brandon, just kind of copying what they was doing, really, keeping the car straight and not in the gas very much. And it definitely helped. And then thought there towards the end, the couple of cautions that we had was going to really mess a lot of things up. But in the end, it come out good.
Yeah, that you did, Trevor. You come home in the runner-up position. I mean, that thing looked like you had a chance to fight Trevor Manley there in the mid-pack, but did those tires start to fall off there towards the end?
Oh yeah, for sure. There was probably 3 or 4 laps where I was hollering at Trevor, telling him to go because I was getting ready to run him over. But I was like, well, I'll fall back right here and just see if anything else opens up, and it didn't, and we just kind of followed each other around the track.
Yeah, that it seemed very tough to pass, as it seemed like not too many passes. Luckily, you were up with Trevor, keeping out of the chaos, as we had a lot of chaos probably mid-pack on back. So you at least kept your nose clean from up there, but it seemed very tough to pass. If you could have made a move, I think it probably would have been a slide job only on Trevor.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then you had to worry about, well, did I hurt the tires a little bit when I did it, or anything like that? And so you just kind of had to hope he messed up, or hope you could find a lane that he didn't take.
Yeah, that is true. And with the slider, we saw a few people jump the cushion, and there's absolutely no traction between that cushion and the wall here tonight. It looked like this track didn't slick out all the way to the wall, kind of a little bit unlike Knoxville. So that was another thing you drivers had to keep in mind. I mean, how tough was it to keep it on that cushion without throwing it over the edge here tonight?
It was very tricky. It was kind of give or take. You had to really watch how you come into it, because if you come into one and shot the berm, you was headed for the wall pretty good. And then if you could bring it back out though, coming down that hill, you had a pretty good run off of it.
Yeah, as Tanner, excuse me, you were one of the highest cars to enter off of, let's say, turn number one. It seemed like your right rear was always right on that cushion, as you did a great job finding that edge and not pushing over to it. As we look a little bit here further in the schedule, we got USA Weed Sport and, of course, the main season finale at Charlotte. I mean, which of those races do you have circled to maybe hopefully have this Double H machine finish back on the podium, or maybe even a win?
I would say probably Weed Sport or Charlotte, but I know Weed Sport's. I'm hoping it's not going to be a wreck fest or anything, just because it's a tight and technical track. But I like Charlotte pretty good too.
Yeah, Charlotte's definitely going to be a tire saver race. 100 laps around there. That's going to be a wild one. So Trevor, or excuse me, Tanner, geez, how many more times am I going to do that tonight? As before we let you go and celebrate your runner-up finish here tonight, I'm going to hand over the mic to you and thank who you got to thank on this Double OH machine.
First of all, I'd like to thank Trevor and Bobby and Aaron for all the help on the sim and everything. And Trevor, me and him into the go-karting thing now, and seem to be finding our way in it, so to speak. FMS Graphic Graphics for the wrap on the car, TNT Racing Engines, and T-Mat Speed Shop.
Some great sponsors there, Tanner. Is hopefully we'll see you some more here on the podium. Great to be talking to you again this season. Tanner, you have yourself a great rest of the night.
You too.
Alrighty, folks, and now we head down to Victory Lane to talk to the man of the hour. That is the 13T machine, that being piloted by Trevor Mattingly here tonight. Trevor, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth.
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, Trevor, that 13T machine looked to be on rails. You got quick time, picked up the heat win in heat race number one, and parked it here in Victory Lane here at Knoxville. Tell us about your race and how this car was feeling.
Yeah, man, we felt good going out for qualifying. I just knew that it'd be around the bottom and got to make it stick. You actually had to be off the gas more than you were on the gas in the corner, and ended up qualifying P1 and set sail in the heat race. And I was actually surprised my tires held up. I was driving pretty aggressive. There are about 20 laps to go, and we kept having those cautions, and they kept scaring me. So glad to see they held out. I haven't seen what I had left percentage-wise, but we'll look after this and see from there. But I was trying my damnedest to keep it as straight as I could up on that high side. And I wasn't going to get on it until they started passing me, and that never come to. So got to congratulate Tanner on the P2 there. You ran a hell of a race.
Yeah, that was a great race between you and Tanner. As Trevor, yeah, it looked very tough to pass. It seemed like by the time this main event rolled around, everyone up on its top side, as long as you didn't make a big mistake, jump that cushion, it seemed like it was very hard to make a move on the guys around you. How hard was it to keep it on that cushion? Because for whatever reason tonight here at Knoxville, that line didn't go to that wall. So if you jump that cushion, you're hitting that wall, and with this new damage, that could have been very bad for anyone's race.
Yeah, and I don't think that it was like super hard to pass. It's just no one wants to pass when there's 35 laps to go, because this new damage or this new tire model, if you burn the tires up, you're done. And everyone would rather ride in a straight line for 50 laps and then make a move the last 5 laps. It's kind of how this build has went for me, how I've seen it go. So I don't know. It's pretty cool, but I don't know. You can't really burn your tires up trying to pass guys.
Yeah,
You
a
know what I
lot to
mean?
keep.
Like,
I was gonna say a lot to keep in mind on the dirt side these days, with those tires being so critical to keep that right rear underneath you to have a good finish. But Trevor, you kind of broke your golden rule here. You pick up a win here tonight. That means you got to start at the back next week for our 45 lap main event at USA. How you feeling about that?
uh, we'll see what we can do with it. I think the way that the new tire model is, the way everyone puts around, if I can find a way to not burn the tires off and get around a couple guys, we should be fine. But yeah, uh, points are getting a lot closer, and I was like, I need to get all I can, so uh, it'll be all right. Big track next week, so we'll see what we can work with it.
Yeah, that agree. I think you got to save this replay. Take a look to see what Jacob Laster has been doing the last couple weeks, and you just got to mimic that same thing because once again, Laster was coming with a head of steam, got in a yellow flag, claimed the incident, but I think got all the way back up to that top 5 position. So that just shows how much tire saving does matter in these cars.
Oh yeah, it's crazy, and I was 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 within a cart length from putting him a lap down at one point, and he gets a caution, and he's right back able to go through the field, and that's the game you got to play. Is you got to either hope a caution comes out or you're screwed if it don't, and it's definitely worked out for him. He was rolling there, and definitely to come from the back all the way up to sixth, I think that's hell of a driver there.
Yeah, that it is. I'm sure you can do just the same here next week at USA. So, Trevor, before we let you go and celebrate your win, another win on the season down in victory lane, I'm going to go hand over the mic to you because I know there's a lot of people you got to thank that makes us 13 cars so quick.
Yeah, first off, got to congratulate Tanner again on the second place finish. Shout out Aaron and Bobby. Um, Bobby had some technical difficulties today and set him back, and he ended up getting in a wreck. He didn't have a very good night, but we'll be back at it next week. Got to thank Hot Lap Heroes, all them guys, um, FMS Rapid Graphics for the wrap, um, you guys for the broadcast, and Dave and all them, Zach, all them guys at ASRC for putting this on, and team at Speed Shop. We've been slow with this new update, but we're still rocking steady with it as much as we can. Feel like I'm missing. Got to thank Granny's Garage. Super big shout out to Tanner on all the go-kart help here recently. I think that's it, man.
Alrighty, Trevor, you add another win to your tally, and I gotta say you did it in dominant fashion here tonight. So, Trevor, you continue to celebrate down victory lane. We will catch you on the flip side. Have a great rest of your night.
Sir, you too.
Alrighty, folks, that was our race winner, Trevor Mattingly, down in victory lane here for another time. As we get everything wrapped on up, we'll run through tonight's race results and get everyone out of here at a decent time. Trevor Mattingly in the 13T picks up another win. He parks it on the front stretch. Tanner Hutchins in the double OH machine will finish second. Ron Hart with the photo finish at the line will finish third. Brandon Marlowe with a solid run here tonight will finish fourth. Garrett Marshall in the 789 Designs car will round out the top 5. Sixth going to Jacob Lester with a great rebound run there. Seventh going to Joseph Grandy in the 518. Eighth going to Dan Lloyd in the 99. Is Chuck Darling in the 88. 10th is Aaron Kirby in the 91. 11th going to Jacob Smith in the 21. 12th is Bobby Manley with a great rebound, had to start a lap down, able to get up to 12. 13th is Jordan Tucker in the 66. 14th, Dav Markham in the 43. 15th is Blake Steele in the 11. 16th, Cam Tucker in the 53. Dave Payton in the 38 will finish 17th. 18th going to Daryl Larson. 19th is X5 of Eric Lake. 20th is Cade Gailey in the 27. And rounding out the field tonight is the 78 of Michael Guerin. So got to give a huge shout out to all the live viewers jumping in here tonight, all the replay viewers, all the people out at Turn 3 and ASRC to put on a great show and keep the fans rolling on in. Don't go anywhere, folks, because the next few Sundays are going to be action-packed. We got USA on the 23rd, Weed Sport the 30th, and then August 6th is our season finale. So you won't want to miss any of those races. Be sure to tune in to Turn 3 throughout the week, as we got a lot of great broadcasters, a lot of great series to broadcast. I've been Brett the Jet from Turn 3 Racing Network, and I just flew by you. Have a good